Yeah.
It's just the grind. Like, oh, okay, if you got that in you, that hustle, like you can do it.
Yeah.
The grit don't quit. You just got to get to it. And if you don't, then you just in city terms, you just a sucker.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Straight up, man. Hey, for a minute, it was almost like when people said the rap game was the new dope game, they wasn't lying
no, it
because
wasn't. I mean, we know firsthand. Like, we did so much out the trunk. Like,
yeah, booming,
I
booming.
mean, I think we did pretty well for where we was at. Like, we wasn't big labels. We didn't have all the biggest money in the world. I mean, we put
No,
together what we could and made the best out of it. And at the end of the day, like, I wouldn't take it back for nothing.
no, not at all. And
Not at
I'm
all.
glad you brought it up because a lot of people don't know this, but my first album was not Turf War Syndrome. It wasn't even Molotov Music. It
Right.
was an album called Bomb Threat. And B3, my cousin, we're the co-executive producers of that project on Ransom Records. So when we're talking about this, we're not talking about it from like, from the bleachers per se. We were on the home plate. We were on the pitcher's mound. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. We was
Checking
on
it
the
out.
field, cuz.
Yeah, yeah. And still are, to a certain
Yeah,
degree.
yeah, yep.
So that said, man, I know for a fact that we started out with each other musically, rapping, doing our thing. And then time went by, we both went in different directions, which is natural, which is fine. I mean, it's not like we, ever stopped talking to each other, but just like musically, two different experiences over time, right? So for people listening, they say, well, how come, B3 wasn't on any of the Gorilla Funk albums? How come, you know what I mean? If you did your homework, you realize he was on the Gorilla Funk album. Okay. But I'll take that. Anybody want to check it in the comment section when this goes live or call in to 89.5 KPOO? Tell us what album B3 was on as far as the Gorilla Funk album, and we'll try to hook you up with something decent as far as a prize. But okay, I digress. Let's get back to it. A lot of times in certain situations, people, lack of better words, go their separate ways, and it's not always successful. You and I have been successful. So my question is, how did you manage after our experience to carve out that niche for yourself? What were some of the things that came up for you to the point where people started to realize, like, oh, this is B3 standalone no matter what, right?
Well, it stems from what we did and
Yeah,
having the
yeah,
confidence and be able to walk into a room and be like, hey, I do this, I can do this, I can do that. I know what I'm talking about.
right.
And then people be like, whoa. And then from then it's like I have a bunch of randoms and people just asking me to manage them or be a part of their movement,
Yeah,
and that's what made it the easiest for me is knowing
yeah,
that we've done it. I know what needs to get done and I
yeah.
know how to execute and I'm going to make it happen. And I'm
That's
a
right.
doer and I get it done. And that's exactly how I've always felt. And like, and as time went along too, it expanded into other things in the industry, with tours and other stuff too, which, I'm
Yeah,
sure we'll get to. But yeah, that
we
was the
will.
biggest thing, man. It's just is how what we did, we had nobody to teach us. It's like we just jumped in the water and started to swim and didn't even know how to doggy paddle.
Yeah, straight
But we
up,
did it.
straight up, straight up. That's
You
how
know
we
what I
learn.
mean? But we did it. Sharks in the
Yeah,
waters and everything. We didn't get bit or
yeah,
nothing. We came out unscathed.
yeah. That's how we learn. That's how we learn. I'm
You
glad you
know,
brought it up first. Let's talk about it, man. You had a lot to do with the Bay Area, let alone Northern California tour scene in the mid 2000s, 2010s. Nothing to do with me. That's standalone on your own success. How did you get into that, cuz?
well, life, man, life works how it works, and like, um, it still stems back from then. Like when I ended up being on tour with Fab,
Yeah,
for instance, I
yeah,
met him with you being in North Oakland, throwing barbecues for the community
yeah,
and hanging out and doing music stuff. And when I ran into Fab at the height of his career, he was like, "Bro, I remember you. You good with me." And then
yeah,
boom, it just kind of triggered, and I'm on the road, and I'm DJ, and I'm managing his DJ Tito Bell, and
yeah,
like it just fell into place, and like I just found my way it, naturally, it just happened, but it all stems from what we did, though.
Right.
From us
Right.
really going outside and showing face. Like, well, that's one thing I told everybody. My strongest suit was putting in legwork and being outside.
That's real. That's real. Yeah.
You know, like there's all this
Yeah.
internet stuff, and it's cool and it's great for what's going on, and it's beautiful and made life easier. But like,
Right.
I'm an outside guy. Like
That's right.
you gonna see me, and everybody
Yeah.
knows. Like, oh yeah, they see me around. Like, you
Yeah.
know, and that definitely stems from what we did, and
Yeah.
like the touring and all that, and just building relationships throughout there, and meeting the so-called gatekeepers, and being on good terms with them, and being cool with
Yeah.
people, and like just
Yeah.
people see that I'm about my business, so I was always welcomed. Even if
Yeah.
I wasn't on a tour or part of it, if I was to pop up,
Yeah.
man, it's oh B's here, all's good.